Hi, I'm Maria Dancing Heart, the author of The Last Adventure of Life, and I'm also a bereavement and spiritual counselor who's done work with hospice for many years. One of the questions I'm asked is, what is the most important thing to keep in mind when we are close to someone who is very close to death, who is nearing death? And in my mind, perhaps the most important thing is to remember that they are getting ready to let go of this world, and they have one foot into the other world. So they're betwixt and between, and the things that mattered to them before in their life are less and less important to them, and what is becoming more and more important to them is getting comfortable with the idea of where they're going next, and they are getting glimpses of that next world. In fact, many people talk about the nearing death experience, and during this time, people are beginning to sometimes have visions or see people from the past who are no longer in this world, but who show up, and they are becoming guides for the one who is preparing to die, and they're letting them know that they're there to walk with them into the new reality that the dying are moving toward. In Japan, I grew up in Japan, and I remember as a child hearing the term omukae ga kuru. Well, your omukae is your welcoming, or your welcoming committee, your welcome wagon. Ga kuru is coming. So this term, and this idea that your welcoming committee comes to you at the time of death is probably a universal phenomenon that happens around the world, not just here in our country or in Japan, but all over. When the time of death encroaches, then loved ones and people on the other side, spirits on the other side, are well aware that we are preparing for our journey, and they often show up and are bringing us comfort and kind of a warning that it's time. So a good thing to be aware of is that your loved one may start talking about things that you can't see or that you don't quite understand, but it's important for you to take that seriously and engage them in conversation if possible about that, and see what else you can find out may be going on. Other times, people may just be really shutting down, and there's a desire to be very quiet and still. So it's important to honor that and not try to carry on a conversation. Just let the person who's dying take the lead and let them show you there's a lot to be learned at a time like this. I recently had a young woman share with me when her cat was dying that one of the things she learned was to really pay attention to her cat, because they had a very close soul relationship. And as her cat named Gandalf was dying, he really showed her what she needed to know, and he showed her what things he needed and he wanted. So it's really tuning into your intuition and into that place of more mysticalness, and honoring that and allowing that just to be, and honoring that sacred time. The Native Americans say that the last 3 days of your life and the first 3 days after you die are very, very sacred times, sacred days, and these are times to really be still, to honor the silence and the sacredness of that moment. Not unlike a birth, because birth and death have many parallels, as you are probably aware, and a time of birth, maybe there's more joy and more awakened times, but there's certainly joy and the honoring of a completion, kind of a graduation time that comes with dying too. So don't underestimate what you might be able to learn by being close to someone who is dying, or by being close to an animal who is dying. It's a true gift.